Open up your MTT, dated for today's date. We're going to learn how to factor using the bounce method. So the first thing that you're going to look for when you're considering using the bounce method for factoring is you're going to look to see if this number in front of the x squared, or the coefficient, is larger than 1. If it's larger than 1, you're going to need to use the bounce method. So this trinomial has a 3 for a coefficient of x squared. So we still need the factor t table, but now what we're going to do is we're going to take that 3, we're going to multiply it times the 10, and then we're going to slide that over and make it 30. And we're also going to take the 17 like we always did and put it there. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for two numbers that when we multiply them together we get 30. When we add them together we get 17. So let's start with 3 and 10. So 3 times 10 is 30, but 3 plus 10 is not 17. So let's try 2 and 15. 2 and 15 times each other is 30, and 2 plus 15 is going to be 17. Now, we're going to go ahead and write our two sets of parentheses, but as you're writing the two sets of parentheses, I want you to consider yourself a coach, and you are creating a practice team for a tournament game. So as a coach, what you're going to do is you're going to look for your best player. Your best player here is going to be your 3x squared. So he is going to go into the first set of parentheses. Your second best player is the 10, but he has a math operation that's connected to him, so you have to put the math operation and the 10 into the second set of parentheses. Now what you're going to do is you're going to look at the two factors that you chose, and you're going to decide which one has the most in common with 3x squared. Well, in that case, it would be 15, and 2 has common factors with 10. Now, when you take them off the bench, you're going to hand them an x ball. So we're going to add plus 15x, and we're going to put a 2x inside of here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor for 3x squared and 15x is 3x and 3x. And whatever you factor out, you're going to put down in your answer. So it's going to be 3x. Now we're going to simplify the fractions. 3 goes into 3 one time. Where do I have more x's? On the top. How many more do I have? I have 1. Plus 3 goes into 15 5 times. Where do I have more x's? I don't, so I don't have to write them. Now I'm going to go ahead and ask myself, what's the greatest common factor for 2 and 10? It's 2, so I'm going to take out my 2. 2 goes into 2 one time. Where do I have more x's? On the top. How many more do I have? 1. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. Now you're going to notice that I have x plus 5 in common. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the x plus 5, and I'm going to take out the x plus 5. And I'm going to put the x plus 5 down here in my answer. Now, when I take out the x plus 5, the only thing that is left is the 3x, and the only thing that is left on the second term is the positive 2. So now I have factored it. If I am just asked to factor, I stop here. If I'm asked to solve, then I'm going to take x plus 5 is equal to 0, and 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. 0 pair out, x is equal to negative 5, 0 pair out, 3x is equal to negative 2, divide by 3, so x is equal to negative 2/3. So my solution set would be negative 5, comma, negative 2/3. All right, we're going to try this one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to bounce. So we're going to take our 2, we're going to multiply it times 56. That's going to give us 112. And then we're going to put our 22 in the second column just like we always did. All right, so we've bounced and we've gotten 2 times 56 is 112. The two factors of 112 that we're going to use are 8 and 14. 8 times 14 is 112. 8 plus 14 is 22. So again, we're going to take our two parentheses. We're going to take our number one best player, because remember, you're acting as a manager, and you're going to put him into the first group. He doesn't have any math operation in front of him, so he just goes down. Then you're going to take your second best player, which does have a math operation in front of him, and we're going to put that into the second group. Now we're going to look at 8 and 14. We're going to decide which one has the greatest common factor in common with 2, and then which one goes in with 56. So we're going to go ahead and put the positive 14x here and the 8x here. Remember that when you put them in, you add the x's. One other tip too is that these two numbers should equal this one. So you always want to double check that. So 14x plus 8x equals 22. So we're looking good. All right, let's take out our common factors. So now we're going to take out 2x, and we're going to take out 2x. So we're going to have 2x times x plus 7. And then we're going to take out an 8 and take out an 8. So this is going to be 8, taking out the positive 8. And it's going to be x plus 7. So now you'll notice that both factors have x plus 7 in common with them. So when we factor out the x plus 7, those cancel out. So now we have 2x left, and those cancel out. We have a plus 8. Now, if we're asked to factor, then we stop. Our answer would be here. If we are asked to solve, then we're going to take the two factors, x plus 7, and set it equal to 0, and 2x plus 8, and set it equal to 0. 0 pair out the 7, so x is equal to negative 7. 0 pair out the 8, 2x is equal to negative 8. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x is equal to negative 4. So my solution set is going to include negative 7, negative 4. All right, let's try the next one. So because our first coefficient is not 1, we're going to use the bounce method. So we're going to take 5 times 4, and that's going to be 20. I'm going to slide that right over there. And then the negative 3, again, goes into the right column. So we need two factors that when we multiply, we get 20, and when we add them together, we get negative 3. So we start looking at factors. So this would be 2 and 10. Multiply gets us 20, but does not give us 3. We could do negative 2, negative 10. Again, that would give us positive 20. But if we do negative 2 plus negative 10, that does not equal negative 3. So we'll try 4 and 5. That will give us 20. But 4 plus 5 does not give us negative 3. We'll try negative 4, negative 5. That will also give us 20. But negative 4 plus negative 5 does not give us negative 3. So there are no factors that will give us a 20 when we multiply and give us negative 3 when we add it. So this trinomial is prime. That means it cannot be factored. It is in simplest form. So simplest form would be that answer, and so it is prime. So the answer you would write on your quiz or test would be prime. All right, let's go and bounce this one. So we're going to do 3 times negative 20 is going to give us negative 60. And then we're going to put our negative 11 into our right column. So now we're looking for two factors that when we multiply we get negative 60. And when we add them together we get negative 11. Okay, so let's start out with something easy. We can try negative 6 and 10. But that does not give us negative 11. We could do negative 4 and positive 15. That gives us positive 11, so if we switch the signs on that, that should give us our negative 11. Okay, so we know our factors. So again, we're going to write our 2 parentheses, and again, we're having to bounce because of the 3 right here. So we're going to take our best player, which is going to be our 3x squared, and that's going to go into our first group. We're going to take our second best player, including the math operation that goes with it, so that's going to be our negative 20. We're going to look at our 2 factors and decide who would have more in common. So we're going to go ahead and put the negative 15x, and we're going to take the positive 4x. And we're going to do a real quick check to make sure that when we combine those together, we still get the negative 11x. Then we know we have those correct. Now we're going to take out our greatest common factors, so that's going to be 3x and 3x. 3x. Where do I have more x's? On the top, how many more do I have? I have 1. Minus 3 goes into 15 5 times. Where do I have more x's? I don't, so they cancel out. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take out my 4, and it's a positive 4, and that's going to leave me with x minus 5. So now they both have an x minus 5 in them, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out. So x minus 5, and when that cancels out, that leaves me with a 3x, and that cancels out, and it leaves me with a 4. So if I were factoring, I would simply stop right here. But if I'm going to solve it, I'm going to take x minus 5 and set that equal to 0, and 3x plus 4 and set that equal to 0. I'm going to add the 5, so it's going to be x is equal to 5, 0 pair out the 4, 3x is equal to negative 4, divide by 3, x is equal to negative 4/3. So my solution set is going to be negative 4/3, 5. And that's how you factor and solve using the bounce method.